Hi, thank you for joining me. Today I'd like to cover basic oil making for the specialty oils. These are the items that you can use to make every single specialty oil combination that you would like to make, or anyone that you would derive at or come up with. These are like a foundational system. No matter what oils you make, you can use the same combination of oils or items. And they would be bottles. You notice that these bottles come, these are glass. I prefer the glass bottles because they maintain the fragrances of the oils that you place in them, so that the scent will stay longer. It doesn't break down. It will stay potent longer. And this is a plastic bottle. It has the little squeeze or cap on the top that you can squeeze the oils out of. It's a larger size. It will allow you to make a larger amount of oil. They're good. You can use those. So it's no problem with those. But just know that it will not hold the integrity of the oil as long. There are some other bottles. This one has a dropper in it, brown, blue. It doesn't matter. The color glass, though, helps to keep the sunlight and ultra rays out, violet lights out. So it also helps the fragrance stay longer. And this is one of the larger bottles. These are ones that I usually get, the essential oils that I use. I kind of get them, I can get them in any size, but I prefer to get the larger size bottles. They last longer. I've had this bottle for some years, and the integrity of the oil is still intact. So any size bottle will do. This will be your result. This is what the results will look like, similar to these, but you would have items in there. And so I'll leave those there. Hopefully they'll stay in the camera view. This is really what you're working towards here. Now, the other thing that you would need is alcohol. Ethyl alcohol is much better. You only need small amounts of it, so you don't have to get a really large bottle. But if that isn't available, usually you can find it at the pharmacy. If it's not available, then you can use this isopropyl, or rubbing alcohol is what it's called. The reason for the other ethyl alcohol is because you are, usually you use that if you want to make the oil into a spray form. You don't have to, but you can if you desire. I just like to use it. It is, this rubbing alcohol is only 50%, and the ethyl alcohol is about 70 or more, could be up to 90%. So I use that, and I don't have to use that much. Now, when it comes to your base ingredient, you're going to use a lot of oil. You're going to use more oil than anything else. Excuse me, a lot of people like to use, for religious purposes or spiritual purposes, they like to use olive oil as a base. And then they will add their other ingredients to it. The olive oil, after some time, will break down and start to get rancid. But you can use any oil that doesn't have much of a fragrance. That's what you're looking for. And that would include your canolas, your vegetable oil, peanut oils, safflower oils. And my favorite, excuse me, is the mineral oil, because the mineral oil holds the integrity of it longer. It does not turn rancid as long. You can keep this bottle of mineral oil maybe 3-4 years before it even starts to break down and turn rancid on you. So I prefer to use it. It's a clear color, and that's what you will get, this clear color, and it's thick. So this oil is a little thin, which you just add some alcohol to it, and it will thin up out some. The mineral oil is quite thick. You'll need droppers. You don't want to cross-contaminate your alcohol and your mineral oil or whatever oil you use. So it's best to have at least 2 droppers, and that way you can keep them separate. Now, if I want to keep the consistency of the mineral oil, once I add my ingredients to the bottle, I will add my ingredients to the bottle first, and I may put up to a half a dropper of alcohol in the bottle first, and then add my ingredients to it and let it sit for 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes to 24 hours before I add the oil to it. That is to help get the essence out of the items that I place in there, be it herbs, flowers, or what have you. As you view some of my videos, you will notice that I use a lot of different items. You need labels, because you will need to label each bottle so that you will be able to, this is I don't use them any larger than this, so you'll be able to identify the items that are in there. And this is a much smaller label, which I find it is really good for tagging these. They are necessary. You need these. I'll put one on one of these other bottles so you can see. Every bottle needs a label. You need to know what oils are in here. You have to know these oils. Here I had ran out of labels, so I placed that on there. But these labels, what you do is when you put the label on, then you can cover this up with some clear tape. Nothing is more frustrating than to look for a particular oil and you have mixed them up because you didn't put a label on it. So different size labels will do. And as you see, I have this little notepad. I always keep some type of notepad. This has a spiral bound on it. Any type of binding that allows these pages to stay together while you're trying to write, it keeps them steady. So I try and keep a note tablet somewhere, and in these videos I try to use them so that I make sure I give you all of the information I intend for you to have in a particular thing. Some other items that are not necessary but optional. This is fragrant. You can use essential oils, or you can use oils that are to scent candles, because candles are waxy. You can use those, and these are colored dyes. They are liquid looking, but there's a water soluble, I think it's called like a water soluble kind of oily thing. They make it up that you can use. This looks watery, but it may have the DPI oil or solvent, whatever they call it. It's really what is used is a cutting oil, and it's really thin and it looks like water. But these are for candles, so you can use coloring dyes in order to color. Do not use the regular food coloring because it's water-based and it will just kind of float around in the oil. It will not mix well for you at all. So those are some of the things that you would use once you add your ingredients. I'll drop, you can use any herbs. Again, I'm going to show you you can either have the oil in there. What I prefer to do is put the oil in an empty bottle and add a little alcohol to it. Then just drop the herbs in the jar. Use some tip. It could be an ink pen or a tip of the dropper, and just drop it down in there. Close it up. And it's in there mixing, and then I like to rub it between my hands to put energy on it and my intent on it. I have a few other techniques that I use for infusing this with energy. And the main thing I do, if I'm going to use the oil, if I'm going to need the oil soon, I would actually sit this out in the sun and let it steep like sun tea, and the heat from the sun will actually pull the essence out of this and let them flow into the oil. But certain oils, mixtures, combinations that I use, I need to use the energy from the full moon phase, the new moon phase, or a different time of the year. Some of the equinoxes, I may use the energies from those, or certain times of the year, celebration times, that I would use those. But that's what you would use: a half a drop of alcohol with your ingredients that you put in there. Let that steep 30 minutes to 24 hours, just sitting in there. You can even lay it down on its side to make sure that the alcohol totally saturates and just sits on your ingredients that you put in there. Then you add your oil. Fill your oil up to this point only. And the reason you fill it up to no higher than this point is so that it has room to move around. You don't want it so full that it's just sitting there and it can't flow. You need it to constantly move, agitate, and get the energies moving. That is a basic recipe. Once you do that, you can add any combination. You're not limited to what you can do. This one, with these I just had. Now, what I will do too, if you care to, you can, once you allow these to infuse, the oil to be infused with the energies and the essence of the ingredients, you can then drain this off. And once you drain this off, you'll have just the plain specialty oil. Some people don't want all of the herbs and items in with the oils. And in those instances, use some cheesecloth and it will drain right off, and you'll end up with just the clear liquid. And remember, label that too. I have certain oils like sandalwood, a sandalwood mixture, or frankincense and myrrh mixtures that I don't generally label because I know what they are. I use them all the time. So there you have it. Just a basic recipe that can be used in combination with any other additives. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time.